Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 31. Today we're going to touch a lot on AEW news. There is one thing I want to address for WWE news in this episode. There's actually information about WWE's NXT TakeOver show that was supposed to take place in Tampa that has been announced that it's official. April 1st, they will be having that on their NXT television show instead. That is actually being mentioned to be announced by Triple H tomorrow night on Wednesday's episode. At this time, the only match that was officially announced was the ladder match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Matches that were being set up for the pay-per-view included Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream for the NXT World Championship and Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Personally, I feel that those are the three matches that need to be shown on this episode, and that is it. Those three matches should be able to take up the majority of the show for at least 2 hours. I don't see why they would do 4 or 5 matches like they normally did for other NXT TakeOver shows. Since they were about 2.5 hours, this would only get 2 hours. So 3 matches would probably do it good justice and would do it right. So those 3 matches would be entertaining to see, especially with a ladder match in the Performance Center. So that should be interesting to see on live television. And that would be a first for NXT. So that should be very interesting to watch, especially with the women competing in a ladders match. So that's pretty much that. Now, let's get into AEW news. AEW actually, news regarding AEW Dynamite and the Dark show, Dark episodes, AEW Dark. So Cody Rhodes goes on social media that him and Tony Schiavone will be doing commentary for this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. This is going to be very weird. This Wednesday I'll be joining Tony Schiavone on commentary live for AEW Dynamite. I have a bad habit on commentary that I'll be totally leaning into, and hopefully it turns into something fun for the fans watching at home. More info to come, and that's pretty much all that was stated on that. Tony Khan announced the following regarding this week's edition of AEW Dark. With fans at home who deserve fun and free wrestling content, we're streaming a double episode of AEW Dark tomorrow. 6 matches on the card, and it will feature top stars from AEW, plus with many independent wrestlers out of work. We're giving chances to several of them tomorrow night. That is fucking awesome by Tony Khan. I have to admit, I think Tony Khan is the savior of the wrestling industry. This guy really cares about this business. He cares about making money, but also cares about the people that work for him. That is a great combination to making money. And as long as this coronavirus situation doesn't bury him financially like it's doing to mostly everybody, I honestly feel that Tony Khan will be in okay shape, and we will have a wrestling program to be proud of. I honestly feel that you're going to see eventually down the line, in the next 5 to 6 years maybe, seeing a lot of NXT stars moving into AEW. I bet you Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, and Bobby Fish, those 4 guys from Undisputed Era, if they are mistreated by WWE as a whole, they will, all 4 of them, get up and leave. They will go ahead, live out their contract, whatever amount years they have left, and walk and go to this company. They have a lot of people they know. They're very close friends. Adam Cole knows Cody Rhodes very well. Same for the Young Bucks, especially since they all work together. Kyle O'Reilly would probably know them since they worked in Ring of Honor together. So at the end of the day, NXT better watch their ass. WWE actually should better watch their ass with a lot of these top stars on NXT, because I don't think they're going to be complacent. I don't believe they're going to sit there and accept being second class. They expect to be number one on the WWE main brand. And if they get moved to the main roster, they better be treated as so. Because if not, they've already mentioned this. One, Adam Cole doesn't want the rest of his group not going with him to the main roster. He thinks that would be detrimental to anybody in the group not being together as one on the main roster to begin with. And I totally agree with that. I think they will drown if they don't have the four of them together, especially Roderick Strong. Now, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish as a tag team being brought into the main roster, they may actually be able to swim. But Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, I think, are a different story. I think more Roderick Strong than anyone else. I think Adam Cole might be able to do it, but he ain't going to be at the level he should be at if he's positioned by himself. These four guys need to be as a team. They came into NXT as a team. They need to come out of NXT still remaining as a team. Now, Roderick Strong, of course, was added to the mix. If you want to go ahead and say I'm incorrect on that, fine. But at the end of the day, let's face facts. Roderick Strong, outside of his competition with Bobby Roode for the NXT World Championship, has not been much. And until he joined the Undisputed Era, he hasn't done shit. So without them, he ain't nothing either. That's the bottom line to all of this. And straight up with you guys, this company, AEW, has everything going for them. Great wrestling, good entertainment, and they produce good storylines most of the time. We are getting legitimate wrestling again with this company. At first, in the late stages of 2019, we're looking like they were WWE. They are starting to look like what they said they were in the beginning. They are looking like wrestling. And I really appreciate that. Tony Khan has proven to me, number one, he is a very nice, caring individual. He cares about his people, he cares about the workers, and most of all, he cares about the fans, because without us, there ain't no fucking money. There ain't nothing. You're shit without the fans. You need the fans. They are what brings in your money, your bread, and what feeds the rest of your roster with a living. Without that, there is no company. And honestly, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown are definitely feeling it. NXT has not felt it yet, but I guarantee you, with this upcoming episode, they're going to get totally buried by AEW. It's not going to be funny. And it's not going to be pretty either. Bottom line, people are not going to care about NXT even. Even though NXT is probably going to produce a good show, NXT, they don't stand a chance. Because AEW put on a hell of a show last week with no audience. NXT produced nothing. They just produced a bunch of fucking promos and hype up for matches that are not going to even be used for Amalie Arena for NXT TakeOver Tampa. So at the end of the day, it's just going to be another NXT show with the NXT TakeOver Tampa matches. That's pretty much it. Now, the week after that, they should do something really... They should be able to do well with their ratings. I don't know if they're going to beat AEW in ratings, but I think they're going to come close in competition. It all depends on how things turn out, which I will go ahead and report on just for the hell of it, just to see if I'm right or wrong about my prediction. But at the end of the day, guys, AEW is producing good stuff. Now, news regarding the fucking Blood and Guts show. Of course, as I already mentioned, Cody Rhodes is going to be doing announcing, so if that's the case, you already know what's going to happen here. AEW has announced that Blood and Guts will be postponed. So, here's what Tony Khan had to say on the regards dealing with the Blood and Guts matchup. Our goal every week with AEW Dynamite on TNT is to produce great shows for our fans, and I believe we do. We felt especially motivated to serve our audience this past Wednesday night, given what the entire world is coping with, and hopefully we gave them a well-deserved escape during these trying times. Everyone at AEW is very proud of what we delivered and humbled by the response and the kind of words we received from fans and partners throughout the world. Thank you. We plan to continue answering that calling with live weekly shows every Wednesday night on TNT, but the time and circumstances are not right for the card we had planned next week for Blood and Guts. That show will happen when the time is right, which basically, of course, is going to be when they're in front of an audience. I think they're going to postpone this for the very first show that they ever have dealing with an audience. Quite frankly, I'm going to read the rest of this quote here, and then I will go ahead and mention some of my feelings on this and why I think he's postponing it. That show will happen when the time is right, as I already mentioned, but what you can count on instead this coming Wednesday night is a great live episode of AEW Dynamite featuring Chris Jericho confronting Matt Hardy face-to-face, one-on-one for the first time ever, and a tremendous night of wrestling action. In the meantime, until AEW this Wednesday night, until AEW Dynamite this Wednesday night, please follow us via social media, and please be safe and smart so we can get back to seeing you all on the road as soon as possible. Thank you for making this all possible for everyone here at AEW. It's a dream come true to be able to do these shows for all of you. Now, my feeling that they are doing this is because after last week's episode with Brody Lee, aka fucking Luke Harper, and Matt Hardy making their appearances and debut on this program, I honestly think they know for a fact they would have had a fucking unbelievable show. People would have been extremely ecstatic, screaming to the top of their lungs, and would have went apeshit when they saw Matt Hardy live and in person. I think that would have gotten a great response from its audience if they had a live crowd. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So they want to spoil any other good stuff that they got coming up for the next couple of weeks. So until they can get a live audience, they're not going to have this match. And I don't blame them, because I even said it last week for my review for this show. If they would have had a live audience, my God, the roof would have blown off that place. They would have had a fucking ecstatic freaking response from that crowd. And it would have been amazing. Unfortunately, that was not the case because of what's going on. Now, I think this is the right decision. Despite the fact that we won't get to see this match next week as planned, we have to look at the future of all this. This match deserves an audience in front of the match for them to produce this matchup. It only makes perfect sense to do that. If you do it any other way, it's fucking retarded. Now, speaking of Matt Hardy as being one of the people that debuted on AEW, I do have some information about his contract and reason why he did not join with NXT. Now, I'll go ahead and read you about the NXT situation. Matt Hardy responded to criticism of him making the decision to join AEW instead of staying with WWE via NXT. Fan went ahead and stated this. No, I'm not disappointed at Matt for leaving. I've explained multiple times. Now he could have went to NXT, had full creative control, have his own stable if he wanted to. And he could have had better, fresh matches in NXT with Undisputed Era, Matt Riddle, and Pete Dunne, and Keith Lee. So, Matt Hardy responds back with on social media, "I appreciate your passion, but it's ultimately the same boss. My creative input is unquestionably greater at AEW. If you had to choose between two jobs, would you take less money for more days away or more money for less days away? I make smart choices for my family and legacy." Very smart comments there. I honestly feel that that's the right thing to do. I mean, if you might be getting paid less, yes, but you're also going ahead and being able to spend more time with your family. And you're not killing yourself. And with Matt Hardy being the age that he's at, which is, I think, his early 40s or late 30s at the least, I mean, him being at least 30 plus years old in the late 30s, early 40s, I have to say that is the smarter decision. You want to spend time with your family, number one. Number two, he has been doing this job for a fucking long time. I think he's got maybe 2 or 3 years left in him, and him being a part-timer would be a best deal for him. That's definitely something I see in this situation for Matt Hardy as the individual. Now, he does continue on, stating that social media is the ultimate melting pot of opinions. My recent feedback has been monumental. For everyone that's bombarded me with the adoration and joy and support, thank you. If you're not happy with my career decision and have let me know about it, thank you, and I'm flattered you care. And that's pretty much all he had to say on social media. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of people that are against Matt Hardy's decision. I don't know why. If you watch AEW, you're watching Matt Hardy no matter what. Now, if you don't watch AEW, you're a fucking idiot. Because you're missing out on great wrestling. NXT is slowly but surely, I'm noticing, there's a lot of cracks in their brand. And they're not the same NXT I used to know. I really am down on NXT lately. I personally don't particularly care. Let's just put it that way. I watch their show. I appreciate what they deliver. They do deliver good wrestling. But as time goes on, they are slowly but surely melting into the WWE main brand or main roster. And that to me is troubling. The only time they really should be doing that is for like big WWE pay-per-views. And now they're just starting to melt like the Charlotte Flair Rhea Ripley match. Like I said, and I will say this again. If Rhea Ripley loses to Charlotte Flair and she ends up on fucking NXT as the NXT Women's Champion, I'm no longer watching fucking WWE whatsoever. You will not get reviews from me. I may keep the WWE Network for the sake of the old school wrestling and shit, but to watch the modern day product, I'm sorry. I can't support them on this. This is a very important match to me. Now, granted, to everyone else, this probably isn't that big of a deal. It's just a fucking match with NXT, with the Women's Championship, but it means something to me. It definitely said something to me what they think of their brand for NXT. Do they care about building new stars in the future with these guys, or do they just don't give a shit? And quite frankly, I'm leaning towards they don't give a shit. So if they want to go ahead and prove to me that they don't give a shit by having Charlotte Flair win the fucking NXT Women's Championship, then by all means, that says to me they don't give a shit. Why should I care about watching their modern day product? I shouldn't. Shouldn't give them any kind of attention or waste my time and energy and my voice on talking about this shit. Because, quite frankly, they're not delivering on anything. They're not delivering shit to us. Especially if they have Charlotte Flair win the NXT Women's Championship. That's all I have to say on that. Now, Matt Hardy goes ahead and gives some more information about his contract with AEW. Now, this is some cool shit. a fan actually says on social media, can we just get one showing? Can we get just one showing in New Japan? That would make my life. Okay, whatever, man. I don't know about all that. I mean, it's not going to make my life or make it or break it for me if we see Matt Hardy in New Japan Wrestling. But to see Matt Hardy in New Japan Wrestling would be pretty fucking cool. So actually he goes on and mentions to this fan that my contract would allow that. Truth be told, I'd love the opportunity to perform on a New Japan Wrestling Kingdom show in some capacity. So he is basically going ahead and stating that this contract allows him to have the capability to perform in front of New Japan Wrestling. And that's fucking cool. I will really look into seeing that match, if he has one, even. I mean, seeing Jon Moxley on there, Chris Jericho, and Jericho competing against Kenny Omega at the time when Kenny Omega was part of New Japan Wrestling and Jericho was just a free agent, being able to go anywhere he wanted to perform. But I think that's pretty fucking cool if we could see Matt Hardy on New Japan Wrestling. And to see him at Wrestle Kingdom competing in some kind of matchup would be really neat too. So that's pretty much the overall gist of what his contract is. He's not going to have to perform as much like he would in WWE. And on top of it, he gets the ability to perform in front of New Japan Wrestling. And I think that's pretty fucking awesome. So that's pretty much all I have to say on this episode for Random Wrestling Talk episode 31. So hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Bye.